What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today, we're going to look at the Anquan Boldin trade, which occurred back on March 5th in the year 2010. Now, the original part of this trade was between the Baltimore Ravens and the Arizona Cardinals. That saw Baltimore get the wide receiver in exchange for a pair of draft picks. So basically, Anquan Boldin was 1 year away from free agency. Now, the Cardinals, who had just seen their quarterback Kurt Warner retire, were not necessarily in position to pay for the heavy price tag that Boldin was going to demand. As a result, they decided to send him packing to another team that, needed a receiver and was willing to pay the price. Now, Baltimore, they had a good running game, but their receiving game at this point in time was abysmal. As a result, they were eager to make this trade. So how did it go down? We will start by looking at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the first player they got was, of course, wide receiver Anquan Boldin. And Boldin proved to be a valuable acquisition for the team pretty quickly, as he would actually lead the Ravens in receptions each year he was on the team. Now, in his first year as a Raven, he would catch 64 passes for 837 yards, along with 7 touchdowns. Now, the next year, he would bring in 57 passes for 887 yards and 3 touchdowns. So at this point, he's clearly, he's not putting up the numbers he had in Arizona, but Baltimore's offense was more of a run-heavy offense, so those are respectable numbers. Now, in 2012, he had 65 receptions for 921 yards to go with 4 touchdowns. Now, he had a strong showing in the postseason that year, as he would record 22 catches for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns, as the Ravens would go on to make it to and eventually win Super Bowl 47. Now, in the Super Bowl itself, Boldin had 6 catches for 104 yards and a touchdown. After the season, he ended up getting traded away due to a salary dispute to the team they had just beaten in the Super Bowl, the San Francisco 49ers, in exchange for a 6th-round pick. Now, that pick would be the 199th selection in the 2013 draft, and it would be traded to the Seattle Seahawks in exchange for the 56th pick. Now, with the 56th pick in the 2013 draft, the Ravens would select linebacker Arthur Brown. Now, Brown was considered a raw but talented player coming out of college, and he struggled over his 3 years in Baltimore, recording a combined 17 tackles and half a sack over 34 games before he was released. It was a high-risk, high-reward type of move that, unfortunately for Baltimore, did not pan out. Now, Baltimore also got the 157th pick in the 2010 draft from Arizona in the original Boldin trade. With that, they would select defensive tackle Arthur Jones. Now, after barely playing as a rookie, he would record 20 tackles in his second year. But his third year was where Jones really broke out. He posted a career-high 4.5 sacks as well as 47 tackles for the team. Now, in 2013, he had another solid year, recording a career-best 53 tackles to go with 4 sacks. Unfortunately, he would walk as a free agent. Solid trade for Baltimore. How did Arizona do? So Arizona got a pair of draft picks in 2010, the first of which was the 88th overall selection. With that, they would replace Boldin by selecting wide receiver Andre Roberts. Now, Roberts started off his career with the team as a return man, but he slowly began to earn more and more time on offense. He ended his rookie campaign with only 24 receptions for 307 yards, but he did add a pair of touchdowns. Now, he became a full-time starter in his sophomore year of 2011. He did decent, but he played much better in 2012, as he recorded career-high marks in targets with 114, receptions with 64, yards with 759, and touchdowns with 5. Now, unfortunately for him, Michael Floyd had a breakout campaign in 2013, which came at the expense of Roberts as he saw his stat line drop. Now, seeing that he was clearly on the outside looking in, he decided to walk after his rookie contract expired. He does, however, hold the franchise record for most receiving yards in a single postseason game with 145, so that is worth noting. Now, Arizona also got the 123rd pick in this 2010 draft, and they would trade this to the New Orleans Saints in exchange for the 130th and 201st. So the 130th pick in 2010 was used to select defensive end O'Brien Schofield. Now, Schofield was seen as a possible first-round pick. However, he fell after tearing his ACL in a practice for the Senior Bowl. Now, he would miss the first 2 months of the season as a rookie, but he did manage to play in 10 games due to the Cardinals having an early bye that year. he would record 2 sacks and 12 tackles as a rookie. Now, he would have a career year in 2011, as he posted career highs in sacks with 4.5, forced fumbles with 2, and tackles with 37. Now, he would win the starting job for the team in 2012, but after 9 games, he injured his ankle, and this would end his season. Now, he had 34 tackles and 4 sacks that year. Surprisingly, he would get released after the 2011 season, as the team decided they wanted to go a different route, so interestingly enough, that happened. Now, they also got the 201st pick in the 2010 draft. They would use this one to select cornerback Jorah Calvin. Now, Calvin would spend 1 training camp with the team before he was traded. Now, this trade was discussed in the Thomas Morstead video, which will be linked in the description below. So that covers the main 2 teams in Arizona and Baltimore. How did the secondary teams do? We're going to start by looking at the San Francisco 49ers, who got wide receiver Anquan Boldin. Now, 49ers fans hoped that Boldin would be able to help them win the Super Bowl. And he had a strong year in 2013 too, as he ended the season with 1,179 yards on 85 receptions to go with 7 touchdowns. He had another solid postseason showing, as he would post 227 yards and 16 receptions. However, the 49ers would go on to lose in the NFC Championship game, and we all know the Richard Sherman video where he shut down Michael Crabtree. Now, in 2014, he would catch 83 passes for 1,062 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he had another good year in 2015, as he would record 69 receptions for 789 yards to go with 4 touchdowns. However, after this, he would walk as a free agent. He was a one-time recipient of the Walter Payton Man of the Year award as a 49er. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks got 3 draft picks here in exchange for trading down only 6 spots in the 2013 second round. So the first of which was the 62nd pick. With that, they would select running back Christian Michael. Now, Michael would spend 2 years as the backup running back in Seattle, running the ball combined 52 times for 154 yards. Now, he did fail to score any touchdowns, and then he would be traded in a minor trade for a 7th round pick. We will not be discussing that. Now, their other 2 picks that they got, the 165th and 199th, were both traded combined to the Detroit Lions. Normally, we wouldn't even bother to discuss this deal, but I'm making an exception just because it makes it easier. So, the Seahawks would trade both of those picks to the Lions in exchange for the 137th pick in 2013. With the 137th pick, they would select defensive tackle Jesse Williams. Now, Williams unfortunately was bit by the injury bug. He missed the first 2 years of his career due to separate knee injuries. Now, he would spend his 3rd year on the non-football injury/illness list before he was released. So he did not play a down for the team. So next, we have the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints would make a move in the 2010 draft to get the 123rd pick. With that, they would select defensive tackle Al Woods. Now, Woods was released after a single bad preseason with the organization. Lastly, we have the Detroit Lions. Now, the Lions got a pair of picks from Seattle in 2013, the first of which was the 165th. With that, they would select punter Sam Martin. Now, Martin would spend 7 years as a solid punter for the Lions before walking as a free agent. But the player of note in this trade was acquired with the 199th pick, when the Lions would select running back Theo Riddick. Now, Riddick was drafted for his versatility, and after a relatively quiet first 2 years in the league, Riddick established himself in 2015, ending the year with a career-high 80 receptions for 697 yards and 3 touchdowns, while adding 133 yards running. So, solid. Now, both of those receiving stats, the 80 receptions and 697 yards, are franchise records for running backs in Detroit, so clearly he had a good year. Now, he was given the role of running back 1 in 2016, but unfortunately for him, he was limited to 10 games due to ankle and wrist injuries. He still ran the ball a career-high 92 times for 357 yards, while adding a few receptions for 371 yards and 5 touchdowns. So, solid. Now, he got pushed back into the backup role for 2017, and he once more thrived. He ran for a career-best 3 touchdowns, while adding 444 yards and another 2 touchdowns through the passing game. Now, he had another solid season in 2018, but he was released after the season in a move to save cap for the Lions. So this was the Anquan Boldin trade. All in all, pretty major trade in NFL history to an extent. Boldin, of course, has a Hall of Fame case. Will he get in? We'll see. If he does, he'll probably go in as a Cardinal if I had to guess. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day.